And the chaos is live. I'm Lee Kraft, the Monday Morning Racer, your pit correspondent. Next to me is the series announcer, Mr. David Rattan. David, well, it's not so breaking news, but the next race will in fact be that first Nitro Chaos race of the Chaos brand in 2023 up there at Edgewater Motorsports Park.
That is right. It's going to be another one of those first-time visits to a new track to us, and a first-time visit for the Chaos franchise to Edgewater. And I'm telling you what, with each passing day, the entry list for that particular race is getting longer and longer, and the list of distinguished names on there is just longer and longer, and more cool kinds of cars. I was counting today, the number of funny cars and heritage dragsters and slingshots and A-fuel cars. It's just plenty of cars, and it's going to be wall to wall. That is going to be a groundbreaking event, not only for the Chaos franchise, but getting into a new part of the country and bringing our brand of magic to a new part of the world. I can hardly wait. We were just about to kick off down at Baton Rouge with race number 2 of the 2023 Spell Paving Services Funny Car Chaos Championship Tour. And well, for whatever reason, we got sidelined, and there's things we can do, and there's things we just can't do, and we certainly don't have any more power than Mother Nature does. And so we will look forward to the big reschedule of that event coming up late in the season, at the end of the season, actually. So that's going to be a very big event in the fall, as that now becomes our championship finals, Lee.
And I think that's a good move. Nothing against Mocan, but Mocan's going to have a spectacular event Labor Day anyway, no matter whether it's championship finals or not. But it is going to be cool. It's going to be good to kind of give a nod to State Capitol Raceway to hold that type of event. I was looking forward to this weekend for sure, because I was expecting even bigger and better, because we had a great inaugural event that honestly we didn't have a ton of cars because of all the carnage that year at the Motorplex, and it looked like it was just going to be a bigger and better show this year, and there was even more hype, and now we get to let it simmer on the burner that much more, and it rolls into having championship implications. And we know that this season, I think it's going to be very, very competitive. And I think we're certainly going to have even deeper storylines for the championship for people to come see, with round 1, round 2, final round matchups where it's on the line to win it all for 2023, or at least that's what I'm hoping for. I think we're going to see that in Louisiana. But for anyone that may be wondering, it's simply the weather did not look good before the race, and that would have made it very challenging at that facility to park so many cars, because there's more than just the funny cars. And it did not look good on race day, and then it did not look good the following weekend. So that's why the move was made, and I think it's smart.
I think it's smart, and the ingredients are all there. What you referenced is coming back to State Capitol Raceway in September for the finals. We've got the ingredients in place, because Scott Palmer and the Nitro Pro Mods, the Top Fuel Pro Mods, they're going to be there. The Dirty South Gassers and Hot Rods, there were 50 on the schedule to be there, and such a great addition, and they're coming back too. And so we've still got all the ingredients in the pot, Lee, but as Justin Wilson might say, we're going to let that pot kind of simmer until September. And the gumbo that's going to come out of that pot at the championship finals is going to be some kind of delicious.
It certainly will be. Hey, I know that, yes, the next event in the Chaos world, as we have mentioned, Nitro Chaos, the first Nitro Chaos race of the year. We're all looking forward to that. But the next Funny Car Chaos race, we're back in Texas, out there in the dust and oil fields of Odessa, and we're kind of playing off some Cinco de Mayo and enjoying the festivities of that at the drag strip. So bring your tequila and bring your Mexican beer, Maybe we can get Corona on. I don't know. But I don't know who's out there. Let's do it up. I plan on wearing a sombrero and a poncho like all weekend. So.
Well, okay. Better you than me, but I'm telling you what, we always look forward to going to Odessa to Pinwheel Nights Raceway. I tell you, I had a really big smile moment the other day. I was announcing there at XRP south of Dallas, and I look up, and standing right in front of me, out of ways, looking at me, is Gary Gardenhire, and he was there for the race. And so Gary Gardenhire, the operator of Pinwheel Nights Raceway, always puts on a great show out there, and the hospitality is second to none. And of course, his crew always does a tremendous job of welcoming everybody and taking care of all the needs, and just the improvements that they continue to pour into that facility. So we'll be going back to back. It'll be Nitro Chaos in Cincinnati. The next weekend, we're going to be making the tow out to the Petroplex, Midland, Odessa, and should be a phenomenal event. So that will finally be our second Funny Car Chaos event of the season. But man, it's going to be good. The numbers are good. I was looking there. We're almost at 24. I think we've got 22 funny cars right now for that event. We got several weeks to go. And who knows? There may be some competitors who were planning on being at Baton Rouge, and since it was called off, maybe that puts money in their budget to make it out to Pinwheel Nights Raceway. And we may have even more cars than we were anticipating make their way to Pinwheel Nights, because what a great place to have a race. And on that weekend, it's going to be very festive, and it's going to be a plenty good time out there. So I do hope that we have more cars enter, and of course they've got other classes that they have signed up to run out there. So it'll be a show, it'll be a drag race, and it'll be one to take part in and enjoy. And because we'll be out there making sure that rule number 1 is in place.
Well, speaking of those competitors at Odessa, I got to speak with one of them. I spent some time in Albuquerque, New Mexico. That's where Lyle Greenberg and the Cone Hunter Racing outfit hail from. And he gave me the grand tour of the shop, mini museum he's got in his business. Was also very nice to me and got paid for a couple of meals, which was very nice, and took me to some good spots to eat New Mexican, which is different, by the way, and enjoyed it. But they are looking forward to being at Odessa. Always good to see the Cone Hunter Racing team roll through the gates. What a beautiful car he's got, and a rare body out there in the funny car world. So always cool to see him, and we're definitely looking forward to seeing all the other competitors at Odessa. David, a little different show tonight. We do have guests. Yes, it's not just us talking the whole time. Jeanette DesJardins, we're going to have her on, and I hope I got that right. It's so challenging. She is at every single Funny Car Chaos event with her merch trailer, Car Chix. But Car Chix and what she does in the motorsports world, it's well beyond selling T-shirts and merchandise, and we're going to dive in on that with her. And then, David, we're going to put you in the hot seat, and I am going to fire the questions off your way, and we're going to learn a little bit more about you as the series announcer. So that's the show for the night.
Well, I tell you what, I'm looking forward to it. And I know that people that come to Funny Car Chaos, they get the chance to visit with our vendors and our sponsors and our friends. And Jeanette has been there for quite some time and brings a lot of energy and brings a lot of fun. And she's got an extraordinary background that we cannot wait to share with everybody out there. And we're going to be firing up the questions for her here in just a few moments. So when we come back, we'll have our very first guest on tonight, Jeanette from Car Chix, and that's coming up next.
Spell Paving Services provides professional customer service and performance for your next industrial or large-scale private paving project. From parking lots, roads, and driveways to seal coat, chip seal, concrete, and asphalt, there's no job too big for the team at Spell Paving Services. Serving a 500-mile radius from Dallas-Fort Worth, Spell Paving Services has you covered. Call 214-384-3056 to get a competitive quote today and tell them the Chaos sent you.
Jeanette, welcome to Chaos Live. And first, clue us in with the schedule shift. You, as the motorsports vagabond you are, where are you right now?
I am at one of my favorite facilities in the country. And I have many favorite facilities, all for different reasons. But I am at No Problem Raceway, staying with a couple of my friends this weekend. And it is one of the nicest facilities I've ever been to. The scenery is nice. The sun is setting right now. Every pit spot is like full hookup, which is pretty interesting. And like full hookup, I mean power, sewer, and water. They have shops on the property. They have an excellent bar. Don't ask me how I know. And great food.
That sounds like a good spot to land for a few days. So this April showers brings May flowers. You know, we're certainly getting a double dose, maybe a triple dose of that. But your travels have got you in Louisiana, and before we go out to Odessa or Edgewater and Odessa, you've got several other events that you have had on your schedule and have on your schedule now. So, but you kind of gotten sidetracked and got a good place to land. So we want to spend some time with you, Jeanette, tonight, talking a little bit about car Chix. And you know, so many people have met you at the racetrack, and you know, they know that you've got some cool merchandise and all that kind of stuff. And but as the owner and founder of Car Chix, you know, that sounds pretty great. And but that's not where you started, was it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah, it's always everyone. You're living the dream. Wow, it must be nice, but they don't see the behind the scene things. They don't see you breaking down the side of the freeway in the pouring rain. They don't see all that extra stuff that, you know, we all have to do. But yeah, I've been doing Car Chix for 14 years. It's the premier motorsports organization for women. We advertise and promote women in motorsports and the automotive industry. We actually started off as a forum for me and a couple local gals to connect during this horrible thing called winter when I was an employee at Great Lakes Dragway. And within a couple days, that forum crashed because we had so much traffic. And so rebuilt it, called it Car Chix 2.0, which if anyone's familiar with Yellow Bullet, that's exactly what it was, except it was black and pink. And it was for us ladies. And then we had our first event, I believe it was 2010 at Great Lakes Dragway. It was called Racing for a Cure, a quarter mile at a time, which we had a large bracket race, and it was a breast cancer fundraiser. And then someone said, hey, you should have a t-shirt. And then it just, here we are today. We created a monster.
Oh yeah, it has been quite the journey, and you guys have come a long way from then. Now, this is one of the things that I'm not sure a lot of people know is, yeah, you like hanging out at the drags, and you've got knowledge about the races and all, but you've got a lot more knowledge about racing from a hands-on basis. Tell me, we were talking, and you were explaining how you got into auto mechanics, and take us through that. And then you showed up at the drag strip and found out that they were looking for you.
Yeah, something like that. So I actually dropped out of high school my sophomore year, and I started online homeschool. And this is before homeschool was really a thing, or online homeschool anyway. It was very taboo. You have, 4 years, you get 4 math books, 4 English books, and you just hit each book and you're done. But at that same time, I started taking automotive repair full-time at my local community college in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And at the time, they didn't require a high school diploma, so I never said anything. And so I'm sitting amongst people that are like, 18, maybe the youngest besides me, but 18, 20s, 30s, 40s. And I was only 16 years old. And unfortunately, I did not get to finish it because as a minor and going through some parental custody battle type things, I went to go live with another parent, which was interesting is because then I was still doing online homeschooling. And because one college saw I already went to another college, I started going to college early. And and I started working at mom and pop shops. I worked at a garage, one of the first ones. I was one of the only people that spoke English. So I learned a lot of good Spanish words at a young age. and a lot of like skill, like great skill at a young age where I was able to save money and if you broke it, you had to fix it, and that's it. And so I think that also helps me, 20 years later, traveling on the road, things break all the time, and you need to maybe it's not the correct way to do it, and to figure it out to keep on rolling to the next event.
Yeah, so that hands-on experience has paid dividends many, many times along the way. And of course, when you are rolling down the road with the RV and the trailer, you're not a small rig out there, so you've got even more experience out there on the roads with places to stop and interesting things happening along the way. And some of them great because you get to see a lot of country, and some of them a little on the challenging side, but you're out there for all of them trying to make it to the next place.
That's true. And so, funny story, last year I was driving from Alabama Steel to the Funny Car Chaos race in Lufkin, and it was the nightmare drive. First, it's raining, I blew out the wipers, right? And so, was able to fix that. Then, all of a sudden, boom, I blew out a tire on the trailer. Not a big deal. I pulled over and I changed it because I had a spare. Not even an hour later, I blew out another tire, and I'm like, man, now what do I do? I'm on the side of the highway. The next exit is like, I don't know, 7-8 miles away. I'm not going to be able to limp this thing off the road. No one's coming to help me. I'm in Louisiana right before you cross that 18-mile bridge. And so I unloaded my car out of the trailer, jacked up the trailer, grabbed both spares, and, took off to Bob's Tire Shop 30 minutes away, got the tires, came back, put them back on, loaded up the car, and I was on my way. And I was never telling a couple of the guys when we got to Lufkin, they're like, Jeanette, no one stopped to help you? And I'm like, well, no. First of all, the trailer says car Chix. Second of all, the rig's 65 feet long. They probably think my husband and kids are in there. And what a jerk my husband was for not coming to help me. But you got to make it work. You got to make it work. So.
Yeah, you do. And now when you went to the drag strip, I don't know, were you invited to go to the drag strip, or did it just seem something to do since you were working in the automotive field?
So what ended up happening, one of my girlfriends, we were just trying to find something to do. And this is when, I guess, import wars was a big thing. And we didn't even go in the drag strip and we had a good time. We just made it to the parking lot. And so that was one of my first experiences. But what's interesting is that I started volunteering for a program called Real Street Drags. And this was before Street Outlaws being a thing or anything like that. And the promoter, I don't know, there was an event one day and a bad storm was rolling in. And so we all go running into the bar because if I'm going to die, I'm not going to die sober, right? That was our mentality. And so there was this older gentleman in there, and I started, talking trash to him about his car. And it turns out he owned the drag strip, and he offered me a job. And that was at Great Lakes Dragway, which is the oldest operating drag strip in the country. At least I believe it still is. And I started working there. Originally, he hired me to bartend. And my first day bartending, I probably bartended for about 2 hours. And all of a sudden, he rolls up, and he looks like the Sopranos. He's got a cigar. He doesn't got a neck. He said, "Get on the golf cart, kid." So I get on the golf cart. He takes me to the staging lanes. And he says, "Pull out the cars," and handed me a walkie-talkie and just took off. And there had to be 300 cars there. It was during Nitrous Streetcar Brawl. But I guess what happened was the guy that was working there had some kind of mental breakdown and quit his job. So they had me do that, and I did that and was a starter for about 5.5 years.
So when you go to the races and you see this line of cars out the back of the staging lanes, and some people would be freaking out, you're kind of like, hey, been there, done that, got the T-shirt. Maybe there's a T-shirt idea in there somewhere, but you've got real experience at the track.
Right. And what a lot of people don't understand is Great Lakes Dragway is still today open every day except Monday. And so, when we travel around and go to a different racetrack every weekend, I have such a respect for track personnel, because they are out there working like 16, 18 hours a day, sometimes 24 hours, because they're out there scraping a track at 5 o'clock in the morning. And then they, you know, the race runs late. Then there's weather. Then there's oil downs. I mean, it's wild. And I mean, no one's working at these racetracks to get rich. They do it because they love it and they have passion for it. So you always got to be good to the track personnel. They take care of you.
They absolutely do. And we talk about them being the hardest working people in show business, because it is a rough job while we're watching the races, and if anything goes on, well, that's when we get to take a break. But that's when they really go into high gear, because there's just so much to do, and it can be a thankless job. But you and me and a lot of others have expressed appreciation for them. And if we didn't have them doing what they do, there's no way that these events could come off as successfully as they do, and that firsthand.
Absolutely, 100%. And so be nice next time you see the track kid. We were chatting earlier, and I did stage lane starter, and every now and then I had to go in the water box, and that I'd rather be scraping the track in 118-degree weather all the way down the quarter mile than be in that water box. That was stressful for me. I'm like, is there too much water? Is there enough? Like, do I need to broom it? I don't know. Like,
yeah, there's a more to it than people think, and it's kind of got to be right with some folks. So being at Great Lakes for 5 years, you had to have seen every kind of car, every kind of exhibition, every kind of show that there was, big shows, little shows. What did you say? Every day except Monday they were open?
Yes, every day except Monday they are open. And when I was working there, Broadway Bob was still alive. If you guys are familiar with Broadway Bob, I mean, he was like the greatest promoter of all time. He is the GOAT. Like, he was just amazing. And I remember there was this one night we just finished Nitro Streetcar Brawl, and after the event's over, the track crew's still working. They're putting stuff away. They're cleaning out the nozzles. They're preparing and cleaning up any messes, for the next race. So here I am, like, I just clocked out, and here's Broadway Bob in his crazy pajama pants and martini sunglasses drinking a beer. And I'm like, Bob, what are you doing out here? And he's like, I drink beers. He was great. And he still had a store on the property, and he'd always be with his 2 little dogs.
Well, what an incredible personality, and then you got to spend some time getting acquainted with him and seeing all the things that were done up there. Well, let's fast forward to now, and you're crisscrossing the country, and you've had multiple events. You alluded to the events earlier that the Chix brand has spawned, and kind of got sidetracked a little bit. What was it? COVID that put the brakes on some of that?
Yeah. So, what's funny is, like, everyone's like, oh, the t-shirt chick. Well, we never were t-shirt vendors. Like, prior to COVID, we were traveling the country hosting ladies only drag races, Chix Outlaw, heads up, straight off the trailer. Hope that you brought enough. Run what you brung and brought enough. Another big one was our biggest one we were known for was our breast cancer fundraisers. And we would host these during the World Series at Cordova Dragway prior to the World Series getting moved to Memphis in 2016. And they were huge. I mean, they had to bring in security. People would be like 30 deep trying to get in our tents for this fundraiser. Another big one that we created was Chix Battle of the Sexes. I remember advertising it, like, it was a big bracket race, guys versus girls, and then we'd have the big runoff. And I remember advertising it the first time, like, May 29th, the kitchen is closed. And this woman comes up to me at the event, and it's like Memorial Day weekend. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe Memorial Day weekend, the track would close their concession stand. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, you said the kitchen was closed. I'm like, it was a joke. Like, go make your own sandwich. I'm like, girl, that concession stand's open. Are you kidding? So we would do like 4 to 6 big events a year, and I would hit up a couple with our vendor trailer to promote that in between. And then COVID hit, and it was like, boom. I mean, I had to cancel all my races. We were concerned about legal issues. We couldn't, advertise or promote anything. In addition, we had 18 events in a row cancel on us. It was it was a disaster, just like it was for everybody else. I also own a internet marketing company. And so I've been doing that for about 12 years. And to go from like, say, 25 clients in 2 weeks, I mean, that's not good. That's not good news. The first thing companies do when things go bad is they start cutting their marketing. And if I can't open my business and I have no one to market to, you're out, you know?
Yeah. So you are, working your way back to that. And, this is one of the things that I think a lot of people may not have known is, just how big time, and I say that, with a great deal of respect, how big time you are in terms of putting on events, a lot of events, and all of the backstage things that have to be right and have to be done well in order for you to, first of all, even have an event in the first place. But and then to be able to carry that on for years and years and years, you've got some great experience right there, and it's no wonder that you're in such demand from SEMA and the racing organization. So congratulations and hats off to you on that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a fun ride. Some days I'm just like, why do we do this? This is crazy. And then by, the next day I'm like, man, I love this. Let's do it again. That's how it is. And, just like how Funny Car Chaos and any promoter or any racetrack or anything would understand, it's never the actual event that's hard. It's always all the background and everything leading up to everything that's the work. I kind of think like the actual race stage, like, all right, let's do this. This is what we live for, right?
That's right. And getting a chance to meet the people, and all the tracks that you've been to and the events that you've had yourself and the chaos events and other events that you go to, you get to meet an awful lot of interesting people, don't you?
Yes. I want to say, if you ask any vendor or even like, when you're at these different tracks and they have, the concession stand or their bars or anything like that, we're like bartenders, and any bartender will understand what I mean by that. We are the bartender, the therapist, the shrink, the wife, the sister, the girlfriend, the mom. I mean, it's you meet a lot of interesting people from all different walks of life. But I want to say that's probably the best thing about what we do. And it doesn't just end at the racetrack. I mean, you stop to fuel up, you stop at a truck stop, you stop at a campground, you stop anywhere, and people want to, run up and be like, hey, da da da, So it's pretty cool, and I think I'm very blessed to live the life that we live.
Yeah, it's not like you're traveling incognito. You've got the big trailer that says Car Chix all over it, and it's you can't really sneak into any place and not have somebody go, hey, what's that about?
It's a blessing and a curse. It really is. I feel like, so now I'll pull into like an RV park just to kill a couple days and, get some work done. And they already have me Googled. They know my name. They know my dog's name. They know where we're going next, it's pretty interesting. So, which could be good or bad. So far, it's been okay.
So far, it's all been good, huh? Well, that's great. Now, in joining us in the chaos events all across the country, you get a chance to meet even more lady racers. Not that that's all that you're interested in, but that's certainly a feature of the brand is the lady racers. And of course, we've got Mary Reap and we've got Jade Cook, and we've had winners before, Nancy Matter, and of course Rachel and Megan and Sue Christopherson up north when we ventured into Michigan that time. And in some of the sportsman categories, we had Heather Carson racing at the Motorplex at our classic event. But
we had Julie Naddis was at the last event as well. She did great.
It's just getting to be more and more, and it's so exciting to see the expansion of ladies in racing. And you're seeing that and you're promoting that not only as drivers, but as people on crews and people in media and marketing. And, that goes right along with your brand, does it not?
Absolutely. So that's one of the things that we try to promote. So every year, Car Chix does this annual event called the Women in Motorsports Contest. And if you ever seen one of our calendars, that's how the women get in our calendars. Like, I don't sit there and pick them. They don't buy spots. It's a way to teach. If you don't promote yourself, no one's going to promote you for you. You know what I mean? And it's a way to, one of the hardest things is throwing yourself out there. And so one of the things that we also try to promote is you don't just have to be a driver. I mean, there are engineers, there are engineers, mechanics, tuners, like even like, you know, a lot of like the families that come to the racetrack, it's the mom and the sister and the girlfriend and the wife that are like, maybe they aren't mechanically inclined, but they're the glue holding that whole team together, because they're doing everything like behind the scenes that needs to be done that no one actually sees. You know what I mean? I mean, there's just a lot more to actually just being a driver that qualifies you as being a racer or women in motorsports.
That's exactly right. And if those things don't get done, the team falls apart. And everybody will tell you that. I see and hear so much of that, from Kirk Williams and the other teams, that I could list them all, because they all have the same story. But you want to talk to the man in charge or the woman that knows what's going on is an old saying, but it certainly is true in racing. So,
and look at a really good example is Singleton's crew. I mean, Singleton had his mom, his wife, I believe his sister-in-law. I'm sorry, I get it mixed up sometimes. But I mean, you want the woman holding that together. In my opinion, I always loved talking to her. Was the mom out there selling the T-shirts and telling her sons, "I want lights like those." And then the next race I'd see them, they'd be like, "Thanks a lot, Jeanette."
Well, very, very true. Well, we are so excited that you have become a part of all things chaos. And, we really appreciate you taking some time to be on Chaos Live tonight. We look forward to seeing you at the next events, and wish you well going forward, and just really want to say thanks for being a part of Funny Car Chaos and Nitro Chaos and drag racing in general.
Absolutely. It's a great honor and pleasure to be here, and I can't wait to be at the next Funny Car Chaos.
All right. Well, we'll see you there. And race fans, if you have not ever been to Chaos, there's two kinds of people in the world: those that love Funny Car Chaos and those that have never been. When you come, one of the things you're going to love is meeting Jeanette at Car Chix. And so be sure that you do that next time we're at the races, whether it's Nitro Chaos or Funny Car Chaos. Jeanette, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you at the next race.
All right, sweetheart. Make good choices.
Okie dokie.
Nitro Chaos comes to Cleves, Ohio, and Edgewater Sports Park, Friday and Saturday, April 28th and 29th, presented by Summit Racing Equipment. Header flames will fill the sky on Friday night with 2 rounds of Nitro qualifying under the lights. Saturday, final qualifying and elimination. Plus, witness Radical Outlaw Pro Mods, Gear Slamming Gassers, and Nitro Sculpting Door Slammers. Every ticket is a pit pass, and kids 10 and under are free. Get info at nitrochaos.com. April 28th and 29th, Edgewater Sports Park. Be there.
Always good to talk to Jeanette. It's fun to swing by the Car Chix trailer and hang out, chat with her, and check on the dog and what new T-shirt has come out. But yes, she is heavily involved in motorsports and far more than a T-shirt sales woman. And I'm glad we were able to have her on and get to the bottom of it, David. But David, we're going to get to the bottom of you, sir, as the series announcer for the Chaos. I'm going to turn the tables. I'm going to ask you the questions, and you're going to answer them right here on Chaos Live. First and foremost, I'm going to start out with this. Why is David Rattan uniquely qualified to be the series announcer for Funny Car Chaos and Nitro Chaos?
Wow, that's quite a question, Lee. As of all kinds of folks that are involved in racing as announcers and in various phases of the operation. But the thing that I try to do. I don't know that it makes me uniquely qualified, but it certainly is a part of my makeup. Is I have a certain thing that I like to bring to the racetrack, and it kind of goes back to a long time ago, and in my upbringing in leadership positions in high school and FFA, and it's like why are you here? And just to be real candid, I have thought about that very quite a bit. And some of you will kind of recognize where this comes from. But why are we here? Well, we're here to practice fellowship, and we want to honor the virtues of work ethic, creativity, and ingenuity, and teamwork. We want to celebrate the history and elevate the future of drag racing, and we want to develop the qualities of mutual respect, empathy, encouragement, affection, and fun that chaos people should possess. And I think that it's incumbent upon me in my position to be able to foster that type of environment. Chris Graves has a very precise definition of what a drag race should be, and that's what you see when you come to a chaos event. It should be, number one, it should be fun, because when you go back to when I was a kid and got hooked on, when he was a kid and got hooked on it, when you were a kid, Lee, and got hooked on it, if it wasn't fun, would we have come back? Well, absolutely not, unless we just had to and somebody was dragging us, kicking and screaming. And that was not the case with me. It's like I was always trying to talk to my mom and dad and see if I could finagle any way I possibly could to get to the races. And that prompted them to call on some people that they knew might be going to the races. And if they could, pay for that person to take me to the drags, then they could go about their normal business. And, but I've got a love for the sport that comes from back in the glory days. I was very fortunate to have grown up in the time with that funny car chaos kind of replicates, because the glory days of the 60s and 70s. And of course, as far as I'm concerned, it's always been glory days, because I just absolutely love it. But the initial names, Harry Schmidt and the Blue Max and the Snake and the Mongoose, they were on TV. And Roland Leong, getting a chance to interview Roland Leong at Mocan Dragway at that second ever funny car chaos event that ever was back in 2018. You talk about, pinch yourself, and it's like, oh my gosh, is this actually happening? I am so blessed and so fortunate. So, what I try to bring to the races is that sense of wonder that I had and still have, because the names have changed and the cars have changed, but the amazing work that these up and coming crews are putting in to bring quality, family-friendly entertainment to the masses, that part hasn't changed. It's every bit as exciting as it ever was to me, and I hope that a lot of other people can experience some of that wonder that I have, and that they will make new friends and have a great time getting educated on what makes our sport so special and what makes our series so special. I have really loved seeing some of the interviews that have come out from some of our competitors, and it can be people that have been with us from day one, and it can be people that have been with us for not very long at all. But the fact that they come and continue to come and enjoy the racing at Funny Car Chaos and the fellowship, it just means the world to Chris Graves and Tara and me and you and Warren and everybody that has a part in this role in this series. And so I hope that I'm bringing the right the right spices to put in the recipe to make Funny Car Chaos all that it can absolutely be.
Everyone in drag racing seems to have that hook story, where the hook of drag racing that has continued to drag us along got put in. And I think it's fitting that your moment, now you're a Funny Car series announcer with what you experienced all the way back at a school. Like, they don't do what you got to see anymore, though they should. So how did you come to love funny cars so much and drag racing and, well, become the voice of the chaos?
I was I used to say it was fourth grade, but I got to looking back and thinking when it actually was, and it had to be third grade, and that would have been in 1970. So the spring of 1970, I'm in the third grade, and I understand that there's a race car coming to town, and or coming to our little town, and a little place I'm from, Cal Farley's Boys Ranch, northwest of Amarillo, and there's not a lot there, but we did get a lot of visitors and a lot of celebrity visitors. So one of those visitors happened to be a man named Kelly Chadwick. And of course, anybody that's been around as long as I have knows that name. He ran Chevrolet powered funny cars all the time. His partner in business actually was Don Hardy, who built race cars in Floydada, Texas. And so in the spring, they were doing promotions for a Coca-Cola cavalcade of funny cars at Amarillo Dragway. And one of the things they did was they came out to my little town, and Kelly Chadwick fired up the funny car and made an exhibition run in front of the high school, down the main drag at my place. And like a lot of towns that in West Texas where there's not much contour, the main drag is a long, straight, flat street. And that's exactly what it was. So the principal, the elementary principal, he told us youngsters, third grade and lower, he said, okay, I want you to stay right here at the corner of the building. And when I tell you to, I want you to run towards the street. And so we kind of walk up there, and he puts us in this place that we stop, and I can hear this sound. And I've heard cars before, and I've heard cars that maybe needed a muffler or something before. This wasn't anything at all like that. This was different. And so anyway, the principal said, go. So we all ran towards the street. Kelly Chadwick hammered the throttle on that nitro funny car. And, we all kind of turned around and ran the other direction. So I'm not sure I even saw the exhibition run that Kelly Chadwick made in front of my little town's high school. But I saw it come back with the body up on the prop rod and the ramp truck pulling it, because that's the way it was done in 1970. And so we went over, and he did a presentation with us, and he's standing there in his fire suit, and it is just unbelievably cool. And so drag racing came to me, and so that's how it was. Now, at the same time, long about that time, what was on Saturday morning cartoons? All the commercials, Mongoose and Snake, Hot Wheels. So I was already attuned to funny cars through Mattel Hot Wheels commercials. And then I have one in front of me that really, as you say, set the hook. And so then we got to go to the races, and I would see wheel standers, and Top Fuel dragsters, and funny cars, and just everything under the sun. But that was how I got started. Was Kelly Chadwick came to my little town and made a drag racing fan for life. And one of the things, some of you saw my Facebook post about Siblings Day, and I posted that picture of my brother and I, kind of having a little fun with our cowboy hats on. He and I could talk drag racing nonstop, anytime. And, from the time we were kids, all the way until he passed, it was something that we could talk about, just all the time. What was happening in the world of drag racing. I so wish that he could see, or that I could sit with him and do what I'm doing right now. But, it's very, very important to me. And I absolutely love it. And I hope that comes across in my announcing.
David, it's no secret that you have seen a lot of drag racing in your day, and you've been able to announce a lot of drag racing because you do more announcing beyond even the Chaos brand. But when it is the Chaos brand, what do you see in it that is the special sauce, if you will, that this journey 6, 7, going on 8 years now has been so successful for Chris Graves, for the competitors, for the series, now spinning off Nitro Chaos, and even older elements still in play. What is the special element? What do you see from the Tower of Power overlooking everything?
Chris has got this very unique ability to make people know that what they do is important. This is Chris's third or fourth rodeo. He had Texas Blown Fuel Association, and there may have been one before that. But the one that really hit was the Southwest Heritage Racing Association. And in the third year of its existence, and for those of you that were at the Classic and you saw the Outlaw 460 and the Nostalgia Eliminator 2, Nostalgia Eliminator 3, and then the Nostalgia Superstock, that's all kind of an offshoot from SHRA. And that organization is now, most of those guys created an organization now called Texas Drag Racing Association, TDRA. Chris and Tara and Chris's father, David, and his wife, they were very, very instrumental in creating a culture where people came to the races to have fun. Again, there's that very important element. Rule number one, have fun. And and I use the word elevate quite a bit, because I think that when we elevate the standard, then people will rise to that. And, there's a standard that Chris Graves sets when he puts an event on, so that, it's going to run on time, as much as humanly possible. It's going to run on time, and the racers are, they're there to have fun. Lee, going back to the first Funny Car Chaos in 2017 and getting a chance to see, more funny cars in one place, without it being a national event of some kind from the 70s. It was incredible. And to see and feel that sense of, being part of something special from the racers. And it's not like they were doing us a favor to be there. And they didn't, they almost felt like we were doing them a favor to have a place where they could race. And it's neither. We all depend upon each other. But to be in an environment where you're appreciated, to be in an environment where you're uplifted, and to be in an environment where your family could come, you can feel good about bringing your grandchild or your grandfather or your grandmother, because what happens at a Chris Graves event is it's going to be okay. It's going to be safe for them to be there, and it's, is it competitive? Yeah, it's very competitive. And, but is it cutthroat and backstab? No. There's none of that. Your fellow competitors are, they are there to see you succeed as well, and we all succeed together. So, in my view, what the special sauce of chaos is that special brand of edifying each other, knowing that we all depend upon each other, and it's so important to know that we can depend upon each other, because of the quality of folks that are drawn to these events is just, without exception, as good as it gets.
I can agree to that, and I can also attest to that on the media side of things, because it's there too with yourself and Warren and James and others. It is certainly there across the board. Now, oftentimes it is a fascinating story for someone getting worked into a booth. I don't know how many times I've heard someone, they just were there and were handed a mic and left there, and they had to deal with it. or they get their first chance and it's following after big names and that helps them. What's your story of getting behind the mic in the tower at drag races?
Well, I had loved drag racing for a long time, but I'd never worked a drag race. And in 1997, I moved back to Amarillo, and I had seen a flyer indicating that the spring of '97 drag racing season was about to kick off. And I had a minute, so I kind of drove out to the drag strip, mostly just to kind of be there, because when you love it as much as some of us do, you kind of get all giggly inside when you see a drag strip, whether there's any cars going down the racetrack or not. It's like, that's where it happens. So I drove out there, and it happened to be that the guy that ran the place happened to be out by the gate, just doing a repair, or I'm not even sure exactly what he was doing. So I got out and walked over, and at that time, my daily dress for my profession was coat tie. And I said, "Hey, man, my name's David." His name was Bill Hibbert. And I said, "Y'all need any help out there?" He, looking at a guy standing in a suit and tie, and says, "Doing what?" And I was like, "I don't know. What do you need done?" So anyway, one thing led to another, and I met the track owner, Bill Helsher, Mr. Bardall, the Mr. Bardall, guy that I always thought had to be 10 feet tall, but was really 5'6", or maybe he wasn't quite that tall. I don't know. But anyway, I got started very basically at the gate with a clipboard, getting people to sign the insurance waivers, and then they let me take money. Then one day they said, "Can you do tech and staging?" And I said, "Well, sure." And so I said, "What do you need me to do?" And they said, "We'll check the cars, and at a track this size, if they have at least 3 lug nuts on every wheel and they have seat belts, they're probably good to go." So I can do that, and learned how to pull cars. And one day the starter couldn't make it, and so they said, "Can you start?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I can do that." So what do I need to do? So he showed me the box and says, "You look under the cars for fluids and all these different types of things. And, if anything goes crazy, press this button and the red lights will flash, and that means everybody shuts down." And so, okay, so I did that for a while. And along at the end of the first year, 97, or maybe it was the first of 98, I'm not sure. But the announcer decided he wanted to make a point and prove to the track management that they really couldn't operate without him. And so he stayed home. And so Bill comes out and he says, "Can you announce?" I knew I could do that. I'm not sure. I'd never had done it before, but I had enough public speaking experience and sales presentation experience that I know how to communicate. And so I said, "Yeah." And so I went up in the tower, and that's what I've done ever since. So whether that was late 97 or early 2018, I don't know, but I've been in the box ever since. And had my own style, and I patterned it after my high school principal for doing track meets, high school track meets. He had a really good style, and he kept things going in a very efficient manner. And so after as I continued to learn about drag racing, I moved down to Fort Worth and started working at Texas Raceway Kennedale. And I went to school under a couple of really, really great guys. One's in the Hall of Fame, and one probably will be. Larry Croft is in the Hall of Fame, and Nick Duty will probably be in the Hall of Fame. They're just excellent at what they do. And they taught me an awful lot about how to run a drag race. And so, that's my story from there. We did a lot of stuff at Texas Raceway with Pro Mods and Top Sportsman, and we would have the big shows where we would book in Nitro and wheel standers and jets and that kind of thing. But we raced every week, and we raced brackets every week. And Friday night was Fun and Grudge and Pro Mods and King of the Hill and all these kind of bigger shows. And so I got a chance to do some other things, but that's how it got started.
Well, David, last question for you. And I know from what you say that you definitely count yourself blessed to do what you're doing. It's cool. And oftentimes you and me have talked about it. We stop and like, hey, we're getting to do this. But I'm convinced as well that motivated humans never stop dreaming. They dream to the moment they close their eyes and they wake up to the reality of a dream they never did dream. And what is your dream still in drag racing to accomplish, to get done, to be there in the moment and soak it in?
You know, to be real frank, I think about, the biggest show in drag racing, and different people think that the biggest show in drag racing is their definition of it. Some would say it's the Camping World Series, and some would say it's Lights Out. And there's different people that like different types of racing, and I look at my resume of things that I've announced, and one of the things that I'm really glad is on there is announcing the Nitro Nationals at Tulsa, because that's got a mix of big show in there, and it is also a nostalgic race, because I really do see myself as my perfect day at the races kind of involves what I'm doing right now, and with Nitro Chaos evolving, would I turn down gigs other series or other races? I don't know. I don't say no, and I don't say never. And if my talents and skills allow me to get invited to some place, I would take it under consideration. But I don't plan to be somebody that's on the road 50 weeks a year announcing a drag race somewhere. I have family commitments, and I love my family, and I love being with people. And so I very much want to make sure that, that I'm not gone all the time. So do I aspire to other things? I'm not going to say yes or no, because I wasn't looking for something else to do when Chris Graves called me and asked me to announce SHRA. But I am excited that I said yes, because it has evolved through SHRA into Funny Car Chaos and Nitro Chaos. And I think this brand right here it carries a very important, very special, very powerful message to people that are interested in drag racing, and to the ones that just don't know that they're interested in drag racing yet. We want them to be able to come out and do this. And so, I'm kind of living my dream right now. And I can't say that that there's a lot of other races that I just aspire to do. Some of these days, if I wind up being invited to announce it, say Indy or something like that, that would probably be pretty cool. But if that happens, or if it doesn't, I love what I do, and I love the people that I do it.
Come back, David. Come back as host, and let's end this thing. Good show. Great to talk with Jeanette. Great to talk with you, hear a bit of your story. People understand that much more who you are as the voice of chaos, announcing the series, whether it's Nitro Chaos or Funny Car Chaos. So great show tonight, and look forward to the next chaos event there at Edgewater.
Yeah, we have, we're going to get a chance to go to a new place. And then, of course, right before the event on April 26th, we've already got confirmed guests for Chaos Live 2 weeks from tonight. And that's going to be Dave Hill with the Mad Max and Gary Wheeler Jr. And, of course, both of these competitors have already announced that they intend to be the champion in Nitro Chaos in its inaugural season. And of course, learning more about their experience and their cars and everything that makes them tick and has drawn them to Nitro Chaos. I'm excited to find out more about their story and some of that excitement that they are going to bring to our first Nitro Chaos event of 2023. So that's going to be fun.
That is going to be fun. I also am excited to see how everybody is going to compete against who I talked with last night on the Competition Plus Power Hour. That's Megan Meyer. Megan Meyer is obviously extremely excited about Nitro Chaos, bringing Gunk along with her A-Fuel ride. Last night, she called out War Wagon and Kevin Kinsley for $500 in qualifying. So if I remember correctly, I don't think War Wagon is on the Edgewater list as of now. We need to see if we can get them up to Edgewater, or at least that happen. And there is money on the line between some two big heavy hitters in the Chaos world.
And I tell you, that's these call outs and this extracurricular conversation that goes on between some of our racers. It's part of the excitement and it's part of the fun, and it doesn't have to be $1 million for it to be exciting, to be fun, to call people out for, $500 and those two names. And you talk about people that have legions of fans, and there might be a few what did Cindy McMillan used to say at Texas Raceway? There might have been a few toothpicks wagered on that race down the racetrack, because on Friday night we had grudge racing. You'd see that, there was a little something more than a win light on on tap for some of these races. But yeah, well, that, can't get enough of it. Can't get enough of that very competitive spirit. And, it just adds to the fun of all things chaos.
And that's the number one rule: have fun. And we certainly do that. David, it's been fun right here on Chaos Live. Thank you, Jeanette, for being on, and thank you, each and every one that watched. Be sure to hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe also to Funny Car Chaos YouTube channel. David, last words.
Well, my friends, I hope that you enjoy a safe week, that you enjoy a blessed week, that whatever you're doing, that you are doing it well and putting everything you have into it. I like to share edifying words when I'm at the racetrack, and if you haven't experienced some of that love, we want you to come hang around and enjoy some of the edifying experiences that we've got for you at Chaos. When we say we're happy to see you, we really, really mean it. So come on out, meet us at Edgewater. You will have a grand time. Tune in for the next Chaos Live, because we can't wait to bring it to you. We'll see you at the races. Good night, everybody.
Taylor Motorsports Products is your first stop for quality safety equipment for your car or your driver. All of our safety equipment products are made in our facility in Albany, Oregon. From custom fit fire suits to racing seat belts, supercharger restraints, engine diapers, transmission blankets, and many other must-have items. Our racing history runs deep. We are racers building the finest safety equipment for racers. And we're a proud supporter of the Chaos.